Good evening, everyone. It has been 3 rounds so far, and from it has been 3 different winners. We're into the final throes of Season 2 of the Sim Racing Collective Rookie Series, and we go to a track that is one of my favourites. Actually, it's a local track to me. We are, of course, in the Garden of England in Kent at the iconic Brands Hatch circuit, which has been around since 1950. The current circuit itself that we're going to be racing on, the full GP loop, 9 turns in all, and 2.433 miles. Looking back over the season so far, we've had Lunatic Braga, Nicolas Pierrat, and Stuart Pryor last time out at Watkins Glen. It could have been a double for the number 69 from Old School Racing, but now we really have a championship fight on our hands, with the top 4 drivers are covered by just 8 points coming into this round. Welcome along to round 4 of season 2 of the Sim Racing Collective Rookie Series with myself, Alex Goldschmidt, and I'm going to bring in my partner in crime from the Netherlands himself. It's the Flying Dutchman, it's Daan Pepels. Good evening, buddy. Welcome back.
Good evening, everyone. Yeah, good evening, Alex. Yeah, great to be back here. Of course, last week out, I wasn't here for what I thought would be one of the best races. Yeah, I just love the circuit. I just love Watkins Glen. So yeah, we had a chat afterwards, and I missed quite a lot, I think, didn't I?
Yes, I think it was probably one of the most calamitous races that we had over the course of this out of 3 rounds out of 5 so far. Magic Karasiak rounded out the top 10. Lunatic Braga had problems in his own right. I think also Ciclodi, they didn't make it to the grid in time. And what's more, Braga was at the front of the grid. So his race went from great to absolutely down the toilet within a matter of minutes after qualifying. But we are underway with our qualifying session here at Brands Hatch Grand Prix. It is also a firm fixture on the Fanatec GT World Challenge Sprint Cup, powered by AWS. And funny enough, quite recently, when the Fanatec GT World Challenge visited the Garden of England, which effectively is a bowl-style amphitheatre, what we have got is the fact that Valentino Rossi, along with Maxime Martin from Belgium, picked up his first ever podium in sports car racing, which was fantastic to see. But we've got a wide range of machinery, as always, here, Mr. Pepels. We've got the Porsche 992 GT3R. We've got Craig Hewlett in the number 4 BMW M4 GT3 that comes across the line, sets the first real benchmark, 1 minute 27.1. And then Stuart Pryor, our winner last time out of Watkins Glen, goes quickest in the Aston Martin, the number 63, with a 125.745. Garçonnet Werner. And now Nicolas Pierrat on cue in the 69 Porsche 992, puts in the fastest lap time of anybody, a 1 minute 25.455. There's Magic Karasiak making his way out of Stirling's, down Clearways and into Clark Curve. Now this circuit, you and I both know, we love this track. It's got lots of undulations. We do have an agree to disagree on our favourite respective corners on this circuit, but it is going to be a true test. I mean, Watkins Glen, we had elevation changes, but nothing like what we've got here at Brands, haven't we?
They're a lot more instant, I would say. If you go to Dingledale, you just can't compare it with the S's at Watkins Glen or the boot, really. And also, of course, the first corner, Paddock Hill Bend, the way that drops down, I don't think you can compare that to any corner really on this calendar, except Eau Rouge Radion and Spa-Francorchamps is one of the closest, I would say. But yeah, it's one of my favorite tracks on ACC, just to race at, because it is such a short track. You can get so many laps in, and I think one of the shortest lap times we will see this season, a 125.455 for Nicolas Pierrat at the moment. Werner though goes quicker, 125.280. So the times currently popping in thick and fast.
Yeah, and Garçonnet Werner actually manages to unceremoniously knock out one of the posts that you normally see at some of the curbs. Kevin Derhocourt about to come across the line. He's just been demoted to 8th position as Lunatic Braga goes in with a 1 minute 24.790. Kevin Derhocourt now gets promoted up to 5th, just under a second behind. But that quickly changes as Magic Karasiak in the 3-1-3 goes to within 2/10 of Lunatic Braga. Kevin Dericourt making his way through the top of Druids, coming down the hill into the next left-hander here at Graham Hill Bend, named after the late Formula One world champion, one of two fathers that have had sons that have won Formula One champions. Of course, Damon Hill took the title in 1996 at Suzuka. Darren Williams in the number 26 J&D Motorsports car goes through. He was 10th, he's now 11th.
Whoa, big slide though. Unbelievable. We had a chat in the green room earlier about some instances that we saw happening at Sterling, but yeah, this was this was a close one, I would say, with the snap that he had. Kept it going though.
Yeah, he still managed to keep the throttle pin. Pierre comes out of the final corner at Clark Curve, down the Brabham Straight, named after Sir Jack Brabham. He comes across the line, improves to P4. But no, actually, he goes even quicker. 1 minute 24.750, 40 thousandths quicker than Lunatic Braga. So it looks like we might have Weissach versus Sant'Agata Bolognese on the front row. First of all, a big thank you to Track Titan, who are our sponsors and partners for this season of the TSRC Rookie Series. And they provide a tool that helps drivers to analyse their performance with automated insights as Magic Karasiak sets the same lap time as Nicolas Pierre. We have got a fight for pole position on our hands as the yellow flags are out here at Brands Hatch, but I never thought I would see the day in a championship as closely fought as this that we would have two drivers on exactly the same lap time. 8 minutes still to go in qualifying. Track Titan is actually the tool is being used this season to help improve the rookie drivers' performances, and they're also rewarding them for completing laps in all sessions using the Track Titan tool. We also have to give a shout out to the SimGrid that allows us to get the drivers organised and obviously be able to give you all a lot of information. So big thank you to Dave Perel and his team. But still 7.5 minutes to go. And yeah, I still can't believe this top three covered by 4/100ths of a second. Garson Werner, Kevin Dericourt, Lauren Laferla, as Lunatic Braga nearly goes back into the back. That might have been of the 296 Ferrari, possibly of Jonathan Schmidt, who's 8th at the moment. But Lunatic Braga goes top, 1 minute 24.642, goes just over a 10th quicker than the two Porsches. But Porsche locking out the rest of the top five. It's looking a bit ominous here, isn't it, Dan?
Yeah, that Porsche usually at this track really quick. If we look at the championship though, the qualifying at the moment reflects that it's Lunatic Braga on 69 points ahead of Pierre Nicolas on 68 points. So the two at the top of the timing sheets fighting it out. But we do have Maciej Karasiak, who's on 56 points, 5th in the championship at the moment. Also up there fighting with the top two.
Yeah, Pierre and Braga. Of course, there is an additional point. Freddie Coleman Evans in the Jensen Team Rocket RJN McLaren 720S goes straight on. Szymon Gagański in the number 71 Balak Audi R8 LMS, making his way out of Sterling's. The Audi only as high as 11th position as Garson Werner goes to within 88 thousandths. 6 minutes on the timer remains here in qualifying at Brands Hatch Grand Prix. For the penultimate round, in a week's time, we head to the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalonia to crown our Season 2 champion. Gagański improves, goes up to P9 ahead of Freddie Coleman Evans. Lunatic Braga, has he improved? Yes, he has. Oh my goodness, that's an absolute barnstormer from the Lamborghini Huracan. A 1 minute 24.375. You know what? These Porsches really have to up their game tonight.
How's that for a benchmark? 3.5 tenths ahead now of Werner and Nicolas. So I have a feeling that we might see a Lamborghini on the front row again. Has there been a race though? I'm quickly thinking here, Alex. Has there been a race where that Lamborghini of Lunatic Braga hasn't been on the front row actually?
No, he's had at round one. He took the victory quite convincingly. And that was a Misano. That was a humdinger. Then we went to Spa-Francorchamps, which was the one that I wasn't able to make because someone's been off the circuit. as Stuart Pryor sideways coming out of Sterling's. That is definitely a requirement of a full code brown. Clean up on aisle 3 and check your underwear when you get back to pit lane for the 63. I hope he hasn't lost much time. He's 1.2 seconds off of pole position as they come across the line again. Yellow flag's still out. The 62, Kevin Dericourt, is in the pit lane. It's the number 4 that has brought out the yellow flag, and that is the number 4 of Hewlett, who was Craig Hewlett in the BMW M4 GT3, and there's Valentin David in the Caucaso Design Newman number 19 Porsche, currently 15th at the moment in this qualifying session as we head into the final 4 minutes. So there will be yellow flags out down the Cooper Straight.
I think the 33 has stranded there too now. They are stranded between Graham Hill and Surtees. The little straight in between that. The 7-7 gone back to pit lane. It seems like, for the moment, Graham Hill is a really tricky corner for the drivers. I think they're spinning off left, right, and centre.
Yeah, it's not the easiest one to get through, especially if you bump over the sausage curb on the inside. I mean, the curbs are deceptively high here at Brands Hatch, and thank goodness it's not real life, because otherwise, if people were mowing grass, Jonathan Palmer would be sending them an invoice from MSV, quicker than you can say the word jump. But yeah, the green flag is now out, so both cars.
Wasn't me running through the grass, sir.
Well, here we are with Adrien Ousselin in the number 9 car. Ousselin currently 8th in the championship standings on 49 points. He finished 12th in the opening round at Misano, 3rd at Spa-Francorchamps, but it was not a race for him to remember at Watkins Glen. Currently P7, and exactly on the same lap time as Kevin Dericourt. Dericourt currently 3rd in the standings on 62 points, with a 2nd, a 14th and a 3rd place finish of the previous 3 rounds at Misano, Spa-Francorchamps and Watkins Glen. Valentin David needs to improve. We've got 18 cars rounded out by the number 15 of Nikita Ronin in the 488 GT3. Valentin David needs to keep away from the curbs on the outside of Clark Curve going down the Brabham Straight, because that will send any 992 GT3R into the barriers, either left or right-hand side of the Brabham Straight. Valentin David gets a little bit too wide coming out of Paddock Hill Bend. Hard on the brakes, turn the car into Druids. He's going to run a little bit wide at the top part of the corner.
Just a bit too deep, I think. Just too late onto the brakes there.
Yeah, it just goes to show how tight this circuit is. Laurent Lefebvre fighting the honour of BMW at the moment in the number 5 old school BMW M4 GT3. Currently 8th at the moment, just over a 2nd off of pole position. Laurent Lefebvre has shown that the BMW has pace, not necessarily in qualifying as we head into the last minute and 40. Does Lefebvre improve? That was the best effort so far, though. 1 minute 25.440. Still, that was nearly 2.5 tenths off of Kevin Dericourt. Lunatic Braga comes out of the final corner at Clark Curve and down the Brabham.
Going quicker again. I have a feeling he's going quicker again.
He has.
And indeed he has.
Oh, that was an absolute belter. 8th lap of qualifying. 1 minute 24.257. Here's Adrien Ousselin.
How does he keep doing this? It's unbelievable. 4.5 tenths now ahead of the field. What can Adrien Ousselin do about it? At the moment, it seems like not a lot. Still in 7th, jumps up to 5th, but still 7.5 tenths, a bit more away from that absolute belter of a lap time from Lunatic Braga. I just can't explain how he keeps doing it.
There's something alien about that individual, I think, and that's the perfectly appropriate term. Nicolas Pierrin comes across the line, gets to within just over 2 tenths, 1 minute 24.465. He'll have one more opportunity at a flying lap here at Brands Hatch, as we've got 30 until the checkered comes out for the end of this 15-minute qualifying session. As always, with the TSRC Rookie Series, it's a 30-minute race. The pit stop window will open with 10 minutes elapsed and will close with 10 minutes to go until the checkered. Darren Williams needs to improve from 13th position on the grid. He's 2.1 seconds off of that monster lap from the monster of that Lamborghini Huracan being driven by Lunatic Braga. As Darren Williams goes a bit wide onto the grass, you don't want to do that. The checkered is out for qualifying. Stuart Pryor looks to be starting from 6th position. Laura Laferla, Szymon Gagansky, and Jonathan Schmidt rounding out the top 10. Adam Brown looks to be starting from 14th. Tomasz Kozlowski, and we've got Blasher in the number 2 BMW, Robert Blasher. And is there going to be an improvement? Adrien Usla across the line. Hang on a minute. Have we just seen a sub 24? Yes, we have. 1 minute 23.880 from Lunatic Braga. That is ridiculous. Nicolas Pierrin comes out of the final corner across the line. Does he improve? No, he doesn't. He's going to start on the inside of row number 2. Who's next? Magic Cardiac, currently 5th. What can he do? He goes second. He goes second. That's brilliant from the 3-1-3. Craig Hewlett out of the final corner. Is he going to improve from 13th? Goes 12th. Still a couple more drivers. Nikita Ronin in the Conquest Racing Ferrari still down in 18th position. 4.4 seconds off of that ridiculously alien-esque lap from Lunatic Braga. As he comes across the line, is there an improvement? There is an improvement, gets to within 3.9 seconds, but that is your qualifying. Lunatic Braga, 1 minute 23.8. That is ridiculous. And you know what I'm going to do? Just for good measure, I'm going to see what the all-time lap time in a GT3 car in terms of getting around Brands Hatch. GT3, okay, get this. The fastest lap done by Raffaele Marcello in the 2022 Brands Hatch GT World Challenge Europe round last year in the Mercedes AMG, a 1 minute 22.557. That is a race lap, not a qualifying lap. That's a race lap.
Give that man a contract. Where's that contract for Braga? You know,
you know what? Giorgio Simonini needs to get him. That's all I need to say. That's all I need to say on that one. Good to see Benjamin Prion in the chat. Hello, everybody, and let's go to support Old School Racing Team tonight. Thank you, Benjamin, for jumping into the chat. But here is your starting grid for the penultimate round of the Sim Racing Collective Rookie Series Season 2 here at Brands Hatch GP in the Garden of England in Kent. Lunatic Braga starts from pole position. He's going to have Magic Karasiak alongside him on the front row. Then it's the old school. It's the Porsches on row number 2. Adrien Usla and Nicolas Pierrin on that row. Gustin Werner and Stuart Pryor will be on row number 3. Kevin Derecourt and Lauren Laferla will be on row 4, followed by Szymon Gagansky and Jonathan Schmidt. That's your top 10 completed. Then we've also got Mr. Williams, Mr. Hewlett, Mr. Coleman Evans, Valentin David, then Adam Brown, Tomasz Kozlowski, Robert Blasher, and Nikita Ronin rounding out the 18 strong. We're about 50 seconds away from the full pace lap here. And as we always know, Dan, that this particular track, we've been talking about it earlier on, is tight. Paddock Hill Bend on the opening lap can be a car breaker, can't it?
For sure. It's kind of, it gives me that old school feeling because there is, tell me a place where you are going to find runoff. Yes, I would say there's one corner, Surtees. There's runoff because you take the short circuit there. That's the only runoff you have on this track. For the rest, if you do touch the grass, your Porsche, your Lamborghini, your Aston Martin is going to go left or right into the wall. So there's no room for error, really. And that is what makes this circuit so great to race at. It's on the limits all the time, every time. And especially first lap going down to Paddock Hill Bend.
Yep. 2.433 miles. We get the formation lap underway. Another tricky part of the rolling start here. It doesn't matter whether it's standing or rolling start. There is an adverse camber to the right-hand side. And a standing start, you and I have seen it many a times before here, Dan.
Yeah.
That if you are on a standing start, you've got to get the traction down.
There's a car not getting off the grid. I think that was an old school Porsche that was not getting off the grid. Luckily, he did not get passed by the last car, so it doesn't have to drop all the way back to the back of the grid. But, well, a heart-in-mouth moment, I think, for most people at home, because there was a old-school Porsche that did not get off its position.
Lunatic Braga's already committed Harry Carey with one of the cones before we've even gotten started coming out of Graham Hill Bend. You know, that's the thing. These drivers do
out of the way now.
Well, he's sort of like thinking, well, if I nudge it beforehand, I'll get that done and dusted now. But you know, Lunatic Braga has an opportunity to go into the final round at Circuit de Barcelona Catalunya in a week's time, no less. And it's about what happens with the following drivers. And you know what I'm gonna say here, Dan? I don't think it's just gonna be between the top four, you know, with Braga, Pierre, Dericourt, Pryor. You can also throw into that mix Karajiak, Laferla, Werner, Uslan. You know, I think there's an opportunity. Even Galgansky in 9th position on 48 points. He has an outside chance. You never count anything. You never count anything out until it's the final round of the championship. And we know, folks, that this is going to go down to the wire. If Braga runs away with this, it's about what Pierre, Dericourt, Pryor, Karajiak, Laferla and Werner do in terms of damage limitation, because they want to stop the run of this Austrian. But this Austrian has other ideas. I mean, putting in 1 minute 23.8 in qualifying just showcased the pace of that Lamborghini. But, folks, we are gearing up for 30 minutes around this 9-turn, 2.433 mile circuit. And the drivers are getting into position. It's Braga on the front row, Karajiak alongside. So it's Lamborghini versus Porsche. They come out of clearways through Clark Curve. And there's only one thing to say. Are we ready? Are we steady? The penultimate round of the Sim Racing Collective Rookie Series for Season 2 will go green very shortly, and then it's pedal to the metal. Green flag waves, and we're underway, and a good start by Uslan up the inside of Karajiak going into Paddock Hill Bend, but Lunatic Braga in the Lamborghini strides away. He's got at least a 2-car length lead coming through. Karajiak, and is that Pierre? Was that Pierre? Oh, the lead is spun! Oh, Braga's spun as well at Druids! I cannot believe what I have just seen. There is absolute pandemonium. Braga had it nailed in the bag going into Druids. And I think just with what happened behind, he got spun out. We got another one of the old school cars off of the circuit. This has turned the championship right on its head.
I think it's the Aston Martin of Pryor now leading the way.
Wow.
Unbelievable. What was that? Up turn 2 Druids. I've never seen anything like it. The leader just completely misjudged his braking zone going into Druids. And there was no holding it from that point. But the Porsche that went off, I think, came scattering across the track again.
Valentin David's off the circuit. That was coming out of Hawthorns. Oh, and he manages to pick it all back up together. There's the number 19 from France, and he's going to be closing in on Nikita Ronin in the number 15, 488, and hits the car from behind and causes himself even more dramas. But at the moment, folks, it's the driver that's 7th in the championship that's leading the way. Garcene Werner is at the front, and look at the gap. That is going to be north of at least a second and a bit as they come across the line to complete lap number 1. Nicolas Pierre is nearly 1.3 seconds adrift. It's Uslan, Pryor in 4th, Gagansky, Laferla, Hewlett, Coleman Evans, Schmidt, Dericourt, as there goes Lunatic Braga up the inside of Adam Brown through Paddock Hill Bend for 11th position. Braga has got to fight to go for this race victory, and we're only 2 minutes in.
Well, there's one man who might run away with it, another old school car around. That's the BMW of Laurent Laferla. He's found the grass on the exit of turn 2, Druids. But if there's one man, Alex, who can run away with things here at this race, or who can put himself in the prime position going into the last round, it's the man currently in 2nd, Pierre Nicolas. He can put himself in prime position going into that last round for the championship, because all his championship contenders, especially, of course, Lunatic Braga, he's down on P9.
Yeah, and what we saw at Watkins Glen, I'm going to be the foreboding of doom, so to speak, as Williams nearly in the back bumper of Jonathan Schmidt, and there's Karajiak, 2 wheels on the grass. Oh, that was. Oh, that was coming. That was coming down the. That was coming down the mid to straight into Dingle Dell of all places. As Jonathan Schmidt gets a bit tail happy, coming through Surtees. Sterling's nearly doing a Danny Hunkadea from 2016, if I remember correctly, in a Mercedes AMG GT3. But yeah, Garcene Werner has got an opportunity. Lunatic Braga's going to go through on the inside of Kevin Dericourt. A little bit of a hip check between the two. And Braga's around! Oh, there was definitely a bit of afters there. Definitely a bit of afters there. I'm sorry to say it.
To me, honestly, Alex, it looked like, well, Braga just slowed a bit too much through that corner on an exit. I think it was the Porsche that, in the end, expected him to go quicker. Here we go. We're going to have another look at it. I think, look on the inside. Of course he has to slow. There is the contact. And then the Porsche gets a great exit. He had time to react, though, didn't he?
He did. He definitely did. But we'll leave that for the stewards post-race to decide on that one, as there's Kozlowski just ahead of Lunatic Braga. But as I said before all that kicked off, I'm going to be the forebader of doom. At Watkins Glen, we saw several drivers hit with stop-go 30s for speeding in the pit lane. So that is going to be very, very tricky, because there is a chicane en route to the entrance of pit lane here at Brands Hatch. And if you misjudge that, and I don't mean by speed, but by approach, you will end up in the barriers and your car will definitely need to be repaired. There's Adam Brown, not too far behind Magic Karadziak. Just under 5.5 minutes to go until we hit the pit stop window for this 4th out of 5 rounds of the TSRC Rookie Series Season number 2. Brands Hatch has been a bit of a blockbuster so far, Daan Pepels, hasn't it?
Oh, for sure. But boy, do I love this. This is racing at its best. The 19 of David going up the insides of the BMW of Kalazowski ahead of him. Into Druids. He's going to get him. That's job done. However, he's going to go deep. So there's a chance for a cutback, but covers that off nicely on the exit. There's contact between the two again. And that's another car in the barriers on the exit of 2. Not the first one, but this one, not on his own.
It's quite funny because Laurent Lafella was actually run at that particular point of the track, and he has an incident with Valentin David, and David is the one that ends up on that same side of the circuit. Lunatic Braga, however, is starting to climb his way back. He's now up to 12th, having got past Adam Brown, and he'll see next up in front of him Magic Karadziak, who is alongside him on the front row, along with Jonathan Schmidt, who continues to round out the top 10. Jonathan Schmidt hasn't had the best run of luck in this season, and at the moment, where is he? Currently 13th on 42 points. Had a DNF at Misano earlier on this season. Best finish for him, Spa-Francorchamps, 8th, and was 12th was 12th at Watkins Glen as Magic Karadziak closing in on Jonathan Schmidt, the Ferrari 296, looking a bit battle-scarred on the rear end. Karadziak straight away into the back of Jonathan Schmidt, who goes rally crossing, and there goes Lunatic Braga saying thank you very much. And Karadziak has gone straight on at Druids, and yellow flags are out. I'm not too sure what's just happened there, but I haven't seen him return to garage. Freddie Coleman Evans, in the meantime, battling away with Kevin Dericourt and Craig Hewlett for what is 6th and 7th and 8th at the moment. So good battle here. The only McLaren in the field, and he's running pretty strongly at the moment is Freddie. Last lap time from him was 1 minute 27.6, but hopefully he's less than 4.5 tenths behind Craig Hewlett in the very, very nice deep purple. Kind of reminds me of Deep Purple, the song by Jimmy, the late legend that was the guitar maestro Jimi Hendrix back in the day. As Hewlett goes off the circuit, and Garcene Werner has got Nicolas Pierhat. Pierhat's been putting in 1 minute 24.2s.
Now do not hit him.
Yes, chance favours the prepared mind there, Dan, and I don't think he heard you on that one, because look at the speed he's got coming out of Paddock Hill Bend up towards Druids. It seems like a bit of a old school formation at the moment, and oh no, there was a little bit of a touch. I mean, Nicolas Pierhat, he needs to keep his P's and Q's intact and keep his elbows in on that one. So he now takes the race lead. And where is Braga at the moment? Braga is down in 10th. He's 2 seconds behind the number 26 of Darren Williams. Here's Kevin Deracourt trying to close in on Szymon Gaganski down the Cooper Straight, heading into the left-hander here at Surtees before they go down Pilgrim's Drop and into Hawthorns. And the Audi seems to have a little bit of the legs on the Porsche. Flat 6 engine, rear-mounted, rear-wheel drive versus mid-engined V10 rear-wheel drive Audi, as they are now going to go through down the Mentor Straights into Westfield, and then just over the crest here, down into Dingle Dell, Dan's favourite part of the circuit, I might add. Mine's is Paddock Hill Bend, just for the amount of times I've actually spectated at the circuit. Oh, Gaganski has a bit of a wobble there.
See, that's why I personally think that is the greatest part of the circuit, because you have Druids after, and then that tricky Dingle Dell corner where you just don't see the apex until you're there.
Yeah, that Sheen curve where he had a bit of a wobble going into the left-hander, second gear at about 110 kilometres an hour through Stirlings as they come across the line. And
Gaganski, I might add, in his best position as of yet, best finishing position as of yet. Hold on.
If it finishes, yes, if it finishes as it does now, less than 60 seconds to go until the pit stop window opens for 10 minutes. There is a mandatory refueling time of 25 seconds in the pit lane, and they don't have to opt to change tyres unless they want to, because even though you can still, as Deracourt has got his way, well, he's still in front of Hewlett and Coleman Evans, who have now joined this four-way scrap for 5th place. Oh, Freddie Coleman Evans goes bumping over the outside curve on the exit of Surtees, going down into Pilgrim's Drop. But Gaganski doing a very, very level-headed defensive job over Kevin Deracourt. Deracourt at the moment 3rd in the championship with 62 points to his credit. But yeah, expect the unexpected here at Brands Hatch, as we are just coming up to 20 minutes to go here in the Garden of England at Brands Hatch. Gaganski has a massive tank slapper, and he's hit the front end of the Audi into the barriers, coming out of Sheen Curve on the run down to Stirlings. And now the pit stop window officially opens for 10 minutes. I think if I'm Gaganski, I want to get into that pit lane. There's more dramas for Lunatic Braga. Oh no.
What's going on this round? I think we're going to see a few early pit stoppers. This is going to be the 71 of Gaganski in early. It's not Braga, also refuses to go in early. I think we do have the McLaren of Coleman Evans in. He's in the pit lane. So he is the first one to open the pit stop. And I think, personally, and it has shown a couple of times now that Dingle Dell turned 7 on this track. One of the most tricky corners on the calendar. I would say, personally, trickier than Rouge Radion.
Well, Andre Uslat is currently P3. The front end of his 992 Porsche is a bit more battered than the one of Gosselin Werner, so Uslan's definitely been in the trenches. Looks like a battered Jaguar. You might remember the Jaguar GT3 car, the F-Type that was run by Emil Fry Racing back in the day, when it was not actually a factory-backed Jaguar program. Emil Fry now running the 296 GT3 in the DTM. The team being backed by Verstappen.com Racing, of course, the man that is sponsoring that team, 2-time reigning and defending Formula 1 world champion, looking to go for as Nicolas Pierhat has gone into the pit lane after 8 laps. So now Uslat takes the lead and is a bit sideways. Oh, he's lost the back end! And oh no! Oh, Gosselin Werner, it's happened again. He seems to go so well, and just before the halfway point, something happens. The back end stepped out, going through into
around again.
Oh dear, I bet the back end of that car is definitely very, very much second hand. The front end of the car looks pristine. Darren Williams now finds himself just behind Szymon Gaganski. So Craig Hewlett's in the pits, Valentin David is in the pits. So every single driver has to pit within the 10-minute window, otherwise they get an automatic 130-second post-race penalty added onto their race time for not facilitating the pit stop.
It's 2 laps here.
Yeah. Oh dear.
Oh, this is.
That's got to be. Is that Gosselin Werner again?
Yes, it is.
Oh,
it is
dearie me. That car is now. Yeah, that car is battered front and rear. Look at the front of Robert Blasher's car. He's got, well, that is Adam Brown towards his inside. The front end of that BMW is definitely not tracking right and true. I mean, there's a big old gap between the bonnet and the front bumper. There's Kozlowski trying to get through as well. This is not going to end. This is going to end in tears, I fear. Especially for Garson Werner. He's just got to keep that thing just tracking true. But Kozlowski's right on his back bumper, trying to go through. And like Werner's like going, I'm going to keep the inside line for Sterling's. Okay, I'm going to let him through. I'm going to let him through. There's Lafurla. So there's going to be a change here. Lafurla was looking for 3 wide up in the middle of all of that.
Oh, no!
Kozlowski and Werner off at clearways, and Werner's in the barriers again. So is Kozlowski. And oh, dearie me, don't tell me. Hip check going into the pit lane. Boys, sort it all out. I mean, I thought we had calamity at the beginning of the race, Dan. It has just become like a good old playground scrap between 2 youngsters.
I mean, can we find a car that does not have damage on it? Craig Hewlett overtaking the McLaren of Coleman Evans, 22. So he goes up into P13 now. That is the 2nd car that has made a pit stop now, of course.
Oh, Coleman Evans. Coleman Evans just yeets one of the... Oh, that's the first time in a TSRC broadcast I've said it. Yeet. He yeeted one of the marker boards out of the way. It's actually on the track and nearly collected the back of Craig Hewlett in the process. But yeah, these 2 cars seem to be the most similar to what they look like on the grid before the rolling start.
Yeah, I think so. As now, Craig Hewlett goes wide. That allows Coleman Evans to go through. Does it, though? Contact between the 2. The 2 most pristine-looking cars on the grid so far, I think. Without any damage on it. Now come together. And it's Hewlett once again behind Coleman Evans. Now this battle is now for P11. They've gone past start-finish. Werner and Kozlowski were in the pit, so they've overtaken them. The 26 of Williams is also in. But what's going on at the moment? They, excuse me, it seems like a round before the last round of the championship, the penultimate round of the championship, gloves are off between everyone.
It's like a 36-strong grid of senior road taxes going into turn 1 on a 15-minute sprint race, and you find that there's all hell breaking loose. Lunatic Braga, in the meantime, though, folks, has made his way, slowly but surely, up to 4th position, considering the fact that we have already had 6 drivers in the pits. Darren Williams and Garson Werner become the 7th and 8th drivers, respectively. Great battle here between Freddie Coleman Evans and Craig Hewlett for 11th position. Both have pitted. We still have 4 minutes 20 to go until that pit stop window closes for the penultimate time this season. Craig Hewlett a little bit more aggressive on the curbs on the inside of the crest going through into Paddock Hill. Benny's looking up the inside of Freddie Coleman Evans, so the 2 come together, but he does the sportsman-like thing and lets Coleman Evans back through and say, sorry, my bad. Kozlowski right on the back bumper of Blasher at this moment. This is going to be the battle for 13th position. Kozlowski gets a bit of a tank slapper coming out of Sheen Curve after the approach through Dingle Dell. We're now through into Sterling's on the run down to Clearways. So Kozlowski looking possibly for a move up the inside through Clark Curve, but he might get the run coming out of the corner down the Brabham straightaway. Has to jink immediately to the right hand side to keep from having contact with Robert Blasher as they're going to go 2 wide over the crest. Blasher keeps it pinned to the outside, as Brian Jones would say, high, wide and handsome for the number 2 BMW. And Kozlowski looking up the inside. Is he going to go for the late braking? And he's going to go side by side. Hip check between the pair. Blasher loses out. Kozlowski through at Druids.
I think that was a case of, sir, I'm coming through, and there's no option for you to get out of the way. No, the number 2, I think, yeah, was forced to let him pass. Else they would both be into the barrier. The 11 of Craig, or the 4 of Craig Hewlett, now on P10, still chasing down that McLaren of Coleman Evans. Now then, with a better run out of turn 1, Battlekill Ben inside, defended into Druids. He sends it round the outside. He's not going to get it. And once again, it's the McLaren of Coleman Evans that gets out ahead.
Yeah, Average Sharpie, who's on the broadcast cameras tonight, saying too much yeet tonight. That is very much true. So that's that word mentioned in YouTube chat, and also twice on the broadcast. So there we go.
That's my
But
turn.
yeah, Uslat and Dericourt now in the pit lane for their pit stop. Now, Stuart Pryor, after 12 laps, is leading by, get this, 21.7 seconds. Could he do the double and really put himself into the championship fight? Because looking at it, Pryor's best results, he's not placed out of the top 6 this season. 6 was his worst result at Spa. He picked up 5th place at Misano and 1 at Watkins Glen. So the thing is, it's about managing the situation. Adam Brown and Nikita Ronin are in the pit, so it's just Pryor and Gagansky. They got to come in on this lap. And at the moment, I spot Pryor making his way down in towards Clark Curve. And he's in the pit lane. Gagansky's got to do that now as well. If he doesn't do that, he's going to get a penalty post-race. There is Gagansky making his way into Sterling's. So he will pit on this lap. That means that every single one of the 18 drivers that took to the grid, what's more, Braga at this moment, as there is Gagansky, hard on the brakes, nearly stove the front end on the inside of the chicane coming through into this. That just goes to show...
He was off! There's big contact!
Oh,
and that is
dearie me.
Kosowski and Robert Bloodshot, both off the track, and I think that was going down into turn 5. Unbelievable.
Oh, Blasher's now, yeah, that's Valentin David towards the outside, and Uslat now takes the race lead. Yaha, second. Pryor comes out in 3rd position. How is this going to affect Gagansky? Because he's still serving his pit stop. He was the last one to pit. And everyone is going to come out. They are all going to serve their pit stop within the 10-minute window.
Uslat's done it. He's out ahead of Nicholas, though.
Yep. So Braga is 15.2 seconds behind Pryor. But get this, folks, with 10 minutes until the checkered, we have a race battle on our hands. 5.3 seconds. Cover the top 3 with 9 3/4 minutes. So I think anything is possible. We could see a 4th different winner in as many races here at the TSRC Rookie Series season number 2. Lauren Laferla going wide towards the outside of Adam Brown, going through Paddock Hill Bend, looking to get the undercut is the number 5, the battered BMW M4 GT3 up the inside at Druids. He's going to leave the door open for Adam Brown on the run down through into Graham Hill Bend, but Lauren Laferla holds his ground, holds his nerve. Adam Brown runs wide, but he's going to get the undercut possibly. He's too far behind. But Adam Brown on the opportunity of possibly getting a top 10 finish. But Nicolas Pierre has just taken a couple of tenths of a... Well, he's taken over 2/10 of a second out of Uslat. So Uslat will want to win a victory. So the winners so far this season, it was Lunatic Braga at Misano, Spa-Francorchamps, Pierre, Stuart Pryor won the race at Watkins Glen. Could we see a 4th different winner, or could we see the first double winner this season? Freddie Coleman-Evans and Szymon Gagansky battling away over 6th position as they go through the very, very heavy compression zone at Paddock Hill Bend and then up the Haywoods Hill towards Druids. Oh, Freddie Coleman-Evans all over the shop, going through over the sausage curbs on the inside of Druids, and he's lost all that momentum.
Well, easy to do, I have to say. If you hit that curb in the wrong way, it kind of drags you around the corner. It can help you through too. It can help you go through that corner a bit quicker than you usually can, but if you hit it in just the wrong angle, it will spin you around on exit. So it's a fine line that you're working with there. You got it wrong this time round.
Yeah, so now he's lost quite a bit of time. Adrien Uslat comes across line, lap 15 completed. What is the gap between the two old school 992 Porsches? It's just under 1.6. with Nicolas Pierhat taking over 0.8 of a second out of Uslan. Uslan knows that his time is numbered at the sharp end of the field. He's not had the best results this season, apart from third place at Spa-Francorchamps. He was 13th at Watkins Glen at the season opener at Misano. It was 12th place for the number 9. They come down the Cooper Straight into the left here at Surtees. For the long run, we can really pick up some speed and some slipstream here at Pilgrim's Drop. We're going to be pushing north of 240 kilometers an hour, heading into Hawthorns. Coming up now, the sweeping right-hander. And the gap now down on the intermediate is 1.3. Pierhat wants that second victory. They are dropping Stuart Pryor, who will keep himself in contention with another top 3 finish if it stays like it is right now, because Lunatic Praga is currently in 4th. Title fight has been blown wide open coming into the final round of the season, which will take place in Spain at the Circuit de Barcelona Catalunya next week, where we will crown our Season 2 Rookie Series champion here on the Sim Racing Collective. And Pierhat is now a second behind. It's only going to be the next lap or the one after that, maybe 2 more laps. There's no, Pierhat's off! Pierhat's gone off at Paddock Hill Bend. That is going to allow Stuart Pryor the window of opportunity he might have been waiting for. This could really open up everything. Praga down in 4th. Pryor gets a little bit of daylight at the end of the tunnel, and Nicolas Pierhat goes straight off into the gravel at Paddock Hill Bend and does a Travis Pastrana and goes rally crossing. Meantime, Freddie Coleman-Evans has closed up the gap to Szymon Gagański in the battle for 6th position. The McLaren has really got the fire lit in the belly as they go through into Paddock Hill Bend. Gagański on the curbs. Coleman-Evans avoids them, runs a little bit wide going up the Hailwood Hill out of Paddock Hill Bend into Druids. There is Craig Hewlett waiting in the wings. My goodness me, we have got a race on our hands, folks, and Uslan now has a 1.7 second advantage over Nicolas Pierhat, but Pierhat did not have much of a well, he didn't lose too much time to Stuart Pryor. The gap between them is still 6.7 seconds, but Dan, with 5 minutes to go, I cannot believe what we have witnessed here in the Garden of England, here at Brands Hatch.
Well, I think Nicolas has just made it harder for himself. 1.7 seconds the gap now between the top two. Uslan, just that little bit of daylight that he needed. That might allow him to run away a little bit now. 4.5 minutes, just a little bit more to go now in this race. That'll be what, 4 or 5 laps maximum is what it needs to hold off. Coleman-Evans on the back now of the Audi of Gagański. Up ahead is a BMW that's being lapped. You can see the blue flags at the side of the track being waved by the marshals.
Yeah, this is... And again, Pierhat has closed the gap again by half a second. It's now down to 1.2. This is just absolutely ridiculous what has happened here tonight. The whole Hollywood script has been ripped apart to shreds, and no one could have predicted. Yeah, no one could have predicted this happening whatsoever. It has just been madness personified. And Pierhat, oh no, that's one of the old school Porsches into the wall at the Cooper Straight. That was the number 33 García Werner's opportunity to maybe be in the top 5 for the championship standings come the end of the season. Might have just been thrown a little bit of a deathly blow right there. That was Kozlowski that cut across the circuit down the Cooper Straight, and Coleman-Evans is right with Gagański. The battle for 6th position still not over yet. 3.25 minutes still to go. And at the moment,
BMW is off. The BMW number 30 of Thomas Kozlowski is off. Unbelievable.
Oh,
what's all happening? Look at the front of that car. That looks absolutely battered.
It's definitely not going to be kind to the virtual invoices these drivers are going to be getting post-race. No. My goodness me, Kozlowski down tree bender, more like fender bender for that particular driver there in the number 13. But Pierhat is closing on towards Adrien Uslan. Uslan yet to take a victory this season. And we are 2 minutes and 35 seconds away from the checkered. And that is Gustave Werner, I'm sure, out of the way. Yeah, and we've got 2 cars that did retire on lap number 4. Jonathan Schmidt, who's running in the top 10. Magic Karasiak, he actually retired when we saw him go straight on at Druids on lap number 4 of this race, but we still have 16 runners and riders. We're going to be down to the wire on how close this is going to be. 2 more laps to go after we complete lap number 19. And Nicolas Pierrat was just under 7/10 of a second behind Uslam. Across the line, 6/10. 2 laps to go. You know what? What I really want to see here is Pierrat be denied by Uslam for the race victory. That would be one hell of a cat amongst the pigeons situation there, Dan.
Well, it's not impossible, but it's going to be hard. You know what they say, catching up is one thing, overtaking is a complete different ballgame. As the Audi of Gansky has another off moment, carries himself back up, gets back into the slipstream. Both old school boys finding each other. Getting back though to the 33 of kind of Werner, if his day couldn't get worse. We've just seen it getting worse with that, side swipe that he got, really.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, his day from bad to worse, and he's now, what, 3 laps behind?
Yeah, now they're coming through. All this is going to be close. Pierrat's on the grass, and he's off! He's off, he's lost the back end! And Nicolas Pierrat, he's pirouetted. That's a 360 for the number 60. No, he's just been hit! He's just been hit! That was Nikita Rosin! That just had nowhere to go, and there is Stuart Pryor! Oh my goodness! With 38 seconds on the clock, and there's Lunatic Prague, and he avoids one, but does not avoid the other! Oh, what on earth have we just witnessed? I'm not going to repeat what you messaged me in the Discord earlier on, Dan, of what the is happening. Fill in the rest, folks. But, oh my goodness, Lunatic Braga got away with that one, and he's now P3. Stuart Pryor has really, really been given an opportunity. And, yeah, Nicolas Pierrat is currently... I mean, this is one of the topsy-turvy races. 30 minutes of madness at Brands Hatch is finally going to come to its eventual conclusion. We are on the 21st and final lap. Adrien Ousselin set to become the 4th different race winner from as many races, and it blows the title fight wide open. Stuart Pryor is in 2nd. Lunatic Braga thought he was going to have to exercise damage control. He's made it through to 3rd despite the contact with Nikita Ronin, who came together with Nicolas Pierrat. Pierrat is going to be ruining himself again. That could have been 3 successive race wins, but it is going to be a 4th different winner. Congratulations, félicitations, Adrien Ousselin out of the final corner. The number 9 picks up the victory here at Brands Hatch and flashes the headlights. But what a sensation. RSM Esports, Stuart Pryor in the number 63. Aston get a podium on home soil here at Brands Hatch, and rightfully has the definitive measure to celebrate. Lunatic Braga was in drama in the early doors, and he comes across the line to pick up his 3rd podium out of 4 races. Nicolas Pierrat takes 4th. Kevin Darricourt rounds out the top 5. But what a drive from the sole McLaren in the field. Freddie Coleman-Evans, who's going to come across the line very shortly. But there's a battle, there's banging, hip checking between Laurent Lafala, who's around and into the barriers, coming out of Sterling's. Freddie Coleman-Evans takes 6th. Szymon Gaganski, after that fisticuffs with Laurent Lafala, will take 8th behind Craig Hewlett in the number 4 BMW. Szymon Gaganski takes 8th. Valentin David and Gustave Werner round out the top 14. Darren Williams will come across the line, but he's not too far behind Laurent Lafala. It's going to be a run to the line for P8. Lafala in the BMW takes it. The number 26 Porsche of Darren Williams takes 9th. Adam Brown, what a drive from him to weather the storm, so to speak, in this teacup style amphitheatre we've had here at Brands Hatch. He rounds out the top 10. But Dan, there is going to be significant fallout after this race.
Yes.
I can just sort of feel my ears starting to get a little bit heated at the moment, a little bit of burning sensation. And no, I haven't put red heat underneath my headset here, folks. But what a race! I mean, Adrien Ousselin becomes the 4th different winner. You could not have written this season as it has been just by picking up a blank notepad and a pen and go, right, okay, well, we're going to have Braga winning the first one, Gerhardt winning race 2, Pryor winning race 3, Ousselin winning race 4. Title is blown wide open for Barcelona next week. I can't wait.
Now, what I hope, even though people are going to be fighting for the championship, is that we will get a 5th different winner this season. That would be absolutely amazing, you know. Also, to show the fact, you know, you don't need to win every race to win a championship. It's who's the most consistent throughout a season, which for rookie series, especially like this, is something that, you know, is really important to learn.
Yeah, and that really wraps up round 4 of the Sim Racing Collective Rookie Series here at Brands Hatch. One more round to go, and then we decide our Season 2 champion. 4 different winners from 4 different races so far. The thunderstorm definitely hit Brands Hatch, but it was not in the conventional sense. It was in the mechanical sense. But we go to Barcelona next week, folks. Big thank you to everyone watching on the JP Broadcasting Network. A big thank you to Kieran behind the cameras here for every single round so far this season. Big thank you to Daan Pepels and myself, Alex Goldschmidt. We are signing off. We're going to see you in a week's time. Who will become our Sim Racing Collective Rookie Series champion for Season 2 at Barcelona? You're going to have to wait till next week to find out. Until next time, thanks for watching. Goodbye.